What's possible is that breakthrough that you might be looking for. So shift from that discovery to discernment. Discernment in what you already know. You've done the work, you got to a certain place because of the work you put in. So the discernment that you have should guide you through this season.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by Unlocking Greatness with Jacob Emery, a coaching community built for those ready to become the strongest version of themselves. Weekly calls, proven playbooks, and a community built to grow. Greatness is not given, it's unlocked. Join us today at jacobemery.com or DM coach at jacobemery44 on all social media platforms. Why personal development might actually be holding you back. Something that I never thought I would say, but there's a big discrepancy between discovering new information or discovery and discernment. Already knowing with your instinct in your gut and what you put into it before what the answer is. Most of the time, though, there's a very fine line on further discovery and just doing what you already know to be true. So hear me out. We live in an age of unlimited information. You can get the answer to just about any question immediately. If you want to improve your life, it doesn't mean that you always need to discover new information. Sometimes the answer is one search away, but sometimes you already know the answer. Have you ever noticed who actually follows advice, though? Think about the instruction to work harder. Usually, the person who devours that message is already a person that's an overachiever, probably insecure, which is why they're an overachiever, already works very, very hard anyways. The person that's very lazy, unmotivated, not willing to put the effort in, telling them to work harder goes on deaf ears. They never actually hear the message. The genuinely lazy person just coasts right by it. Don't even let it register to them. They don't want to hear it. They won't even allow themselves to know it may be true, but they don't even care if it is true and they know it's true. They just don't care. It just doesn't matter to them. So telling a lazy person to work harder means that they would just have to apply a little bit of work. But what kind of advice is it to tell someone already working too hard or at max capacity to go harder than what they already are? Sometimes it can be misconception on same advice that's good fitting everyone. Sometimes good advice with the wrong person actually is detrimental. Guidance doesn't always script us into something new. Sometimes it just exaggerates what we already have in place. So if you tell a lazy person to relax more, to not work so hard, to not do anything with more exertion, they're going to probably say, you know what, I am really going hard at it. I just need to take more time off. I need to relax more. You're right, I shouldn't apply so much effort, even though they're not applying it. If you tell the really hellbound overachiever to slow down, to take more time off, they're probably not even going to let it hit because it doesn't resonate to them. It doesn't make sense. It's not something they want to hear. So it's like advice hyper responders. You get advice on something that you like to hear. Then you go double down on it. You want more of it. You do more of the thing that you're already doing. So it's just feeding your bias, feeding your ego already. So the core point is simple. The advice doesn't land the same for everyone. It doesn't land evenly. It lands into what you already have in place. It finds the path of least resistance and is absorbed by the people who already lean into that direction anyways. If you tell someone that's an alcoholic, they should be socializing more and have a casual drink, well, that's going to fit their narrative, so they're going to go do it. But if you tell someone that's very hell-bent on not drinking, they stay in on the weekends, but they could loosen up a little bit for their social life, and you tell them to go have a casual drink, they're probably not even going to listen to it. There's going to be resistance. People who desperately need to hear advice are going to be the ones that just resist actually hearing that advice. They don't want to hear it to be true. They don't want to acknowledge it because deep down they probably know, but they'll never let that surface. Ego will bury that advice being true. Meanwhile, the stoic who equates vulnerability with weakness ignores it completely. So if you're vulnerable in life, the suggestion that men should open up more. You should be more open with your feelings, be more able to communicate how you feel. It's often swallowed whole by sensitivity. Expressive guys. The guys that are already outspoken, if you tell that to, they're just going to be more outspoken. And all while the guys that are very reserved and not expressing themselves at all are probably just going to continue to do that because they will not have any of it. So it's good to get the information that will actually make a change. So this could be called like a personal development bias. We over-index on guidance that fits our narrative already. We self-consume with things that we already believe to be true, just doubling down on what we're doing now to make it more profound and more advantageous to follow this thing. This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by R&R Pipeline Inc., an infrastructure company. Join our team today at rrpipelineinc.com. But in all reality, we're just feeding our own ego, and it's really hard to distinguish the two. Guidance doesn't always sculpt us. Sometimes it just completely exaggerates what's already there, hence making our mold of what we believe to be true even deeper, even more profound in our conviction. And it's oftentimes something that sets us back. So it finds the path of least resistance majority of the time. Look at someone that doesn't have that social life. They could use alcohol, social hour, as medicine every once in a while, where they go out, they get the mental clarity of social gatherings, they get the opportunity to network, maybe meet other people, maybe go date somebody. But the person that's already has a drinking problem, who need to stay away from alcohol, who have a addiction habit, who have something that's going to be exaggerated if they go put themselves in that position. What is medicine to the non-social person who just needs to let loose every once in a while is actually toxic to the person that has a drinking issue, who's already out of control and can't handle their booze. The imbalance just becomes amplified for the person already doing it, and it doesn't actually help anything. It just makes it that much worse. There's some great historic tales like a young Buddha or some other well-known people in our history that have had this exact thing happen where they, out of fear, just double down on what they already knew. So recognize what your cognitive focus is on. What is inside your brain now that you're always believing to be true and searching for? What you search for in the world, you will find. So if you're looking for this answer to be more profound and more proof for this thing to be true, you're probably going to find it. But when you take a step back, implement what you already know, challenge yourself to believe in something maybe just a little different. What's possible is that breakthrough that you might be looking for. So shift from that discovery to discernment. Discernment in what you already know. You've done the work. You've got to a certain place because of the work you put in. So the discernment that you have should guide you through this season. You don't need to discover more about this person. If this person did X, Y, and Z to you, you already know who they are. You don't need to go find more truth. You don't want to believe the truth, and not believing in the truth is what holds a lot of us back. Sometimes, though, believing that this is true, but it may not be true, is where we have to lean on our discernment to take over. The discovery is about more content. It's about learning something, discovering something that you don't already know. Discernment is knowing when to stop listening to it, when to stop hearing it, when to stop seeking for another answer, because you already know the truth. I would be very cautious on a one-size-fits-all advice. Advice is only as good as the person that it's giving to. If you have good advice to a person that doesn't need advice in this area, that actually amplifies what they're already bad at or what they're already addicted to, take a word of caution from me. Too much information can be catastrophic. It can be information overload, which can drive you into a spiral of your own demise. So make sure to pull on the right filters. Following advice that that matches your bias. Following advice that matches your own bias. If you find someone that believes in the same thing you do and just continues to feed that thing and feed it and feed it, maybe it's time to take a step back. So if you have blue light blockers on, you have glasses on, and you're looking through different things, you're only going to be able to see one color. So if you're looking through the lens of what your own frame is, you're never going to have a shift in perspective. So believing in what's true and then finding someone else that confirms that sometimes is not the helpful thing. Next time you hear a piece of advice and it resonates with you and it just confirms what you already know, be cautious. Is this actually what I need to hear? Or is this just a cognitive echo chamber confirming the bias I already have? True growth isn't about doing more of what you already are good at. It's about the discernment to find a path in the middle. Don't seek out the advice if you know the answer. Implement what you already know to be true and let discernment take you to where you need to go. More discovery can be more distraction. More discernment, though, it's all about breakthrough. So, discovery versus discernment. Let me know your thoughts if you ever had this in the realm of personal development, relationships, anything else, because it's very, very profound. It's a very fine line to figure out if you need more discovery or lean on discernment. Stop telling yourself one day. It isn't about one day, it's about day one. Today should be your day one. What you need isn't another day. What you need is clarity with the community to give you confidence to unlock your greatness. That's what the group coaching program is all about. Confidence, clarity, via commitment. Hit the show link in the notes. Let's start unlocking your greatness now, today.